all the world, Merry Christmas from us to you.
Welcome to our Christmas special. With us in this episode, we have the ghost of Christmas, past, present, and Scrooge. Y'all call him Walter. He is with us. Um, we
That
do.
sounded so boring to be Christmas.
Well, I don't
I
have
think
any
that's
So
the
jingle
tone he
boring
bells.
was
to be
going
Christmas.
for.
I don't have any jingle bells. Can't hear them.
Okay, I guess when you get too old, that bell gets broken.
I mean, I have
But
For
heard
some
it
of
now.
us can still
when you
hear it.
when you get 50. I mean, your balls do go bad.
Oh,
So
what happens at
That would
40?
be that would be you and not me.
it was your balls that wasn't working. No.
Oh,
Terry's like, I can't with this. I can't with this.
I'm sorry y'all are evil in mind, but at any
are we
rate,
though?
Did you really not hear him?
I really couldn't hear any
No,
dingling if they're making noise. I didn't hear that.
This
there's no.
might be good then.
Maybe you don't know how to play with your balls.
Yeah,
Well,
No.
you couldn't hear the jingle?
Mm-mm.
No, it
no.
must that Mike must have a good canceling on it because I can't hear yours either.
Hmm.
Oh,
Interesting. I
well,
didn't realize that. It's got some good cancellation.
they're jingling.
All right. Well, now that we've exasperated that topic, uh,
Right.
tell me,
Welcome
and
to
we'll
technology.
we'll start with Scrooge. Um, Tell us a little bit about what Christmas was like when you, because we were all hardcore workers, meaning that we we probably did not take holidays off till we got older, and we found ourselves working on an ambulance, an EMS, volunteering, something, maybe even in the fire department, on the holiday during the holiday season. And one of the things that I'll come to is I enjoyed later on after being in EMS for several years, going into people's houses and seeing how they celebrated Christmas. But
Hated
Walter, why
it.
don't you start us off with what you remember when you started EMS? You were hungry for running calls, and did you work holidays? I'm assuming you did. So did you?
I was a volunteer, so we work holidays because the volunteers actually cover the holidays. I'm trying to if I ever had to work Christmas or not on a holiday, to be honest with you. I think I worked a Christmas night on a holiday. And I think it was actually quiet, but I
Oh,
mean,
Mm.
yeah,
It was what?
it actually, yeah, they people don't like to hear that. John Wilson got in trouble on Facebook the other day for not being
That's why we
quiet.
lost the election.
But I rem back, if you think about the olden days, so I
Well, and hold
was
on, because Walter saying this made me remember that y'all did the weekends and the holidays. Y'all did the
well,
weekends and the holidays.
yeah, because and so I first started in Perquimans, and we did all weekends and weekend day and night, and all weeknights and every holiday.
Hmm.
And then when I was in Tank, we did. It was weird. We always did holidays, nights, and weekends as well. It wasn't until I'm gonna say it probably wasn't until 97, 98, 99 somewhere.
What?
What? That
1897.
no, no,
Correct.
no. That
Correct.
Perquimans actually had paid crews in the daytime for holidays. And then in Tank, it was probably around maybe around that time 2000. It seems like when I started working in Tank full time, we still had off on holidays. We didn't have to work holidays, and then gradually we started phasing in holidays. We phased in weekends. We phased in half of the nights until we phased in all the nights. So, but I don't know if I've covered Christmas. I know I have, but I don't know that I ever really went on a lot of calls. I can tell you a Thanksgiving day that I worked as a volunteer, and it was the worst. It was the worst day that I had, and I was like, "This is supposed to be a holiday, supposed to be a meaningful day for everyone on Thanksgiving Day." And it was, I mean,
Mm,
it started out at like 6:45 with the cardiac arrests. So,
correct.
right. So I'm like, how do you're involved with somebody's life at that point in time. It's supposed to be a happy moment, and it is the worst day of their life that they'll
Codes
remember
and
forever.
domestics for Thanksgiving.
Do what?
Codes and domestics.
Yep, yep. So I'm trying to think, anything that was. I'm sure there was some calls, but I'm trying to think if there was anything that was really like, stuck out of my brain to go, hey, I remember that Thanksgiving just because it started out terrible. We ran all day long because of that. But
Was your station festive? Did you feel like that in the culture of the 90s, we'll say, do you feel like that the culture of EMS was a festive one? Or did you put a Christmas tree up? Did you put candles in the windows or things like that? Or did you feel like it was more of a restriction where you were at?
No, I think we had Christmas, we had wreaths, we had bows. I mean, I think we had, normal stuff, at Christmas, and everybody got excited. We had we always had a Christmas party that we always went to, and everybody celebrated together. So, I would say probably then we had more Christmas spirit by everyone working together and having the party together with that. Not that people don't work together now, but I think, and I'm going to use the example of as the rescue squad, we covered the nights. On the night that was our rescue squad Christmas party, the paid staff actually covered the whole night for us so we could have our party. And we brought them in. We invited them to come have a party with us, but they covered the night for us. The daytime that the EMS had their Christmas party, the volunteers came in and covered shift for them. So we had that covering back and forth where now, you know, unless you have a really strong department that has some volunteers, who is your Terry? Who would come to Dare County? Yes, I know I'm giving names tonight, but who would come to Dare County as a volunteer and say, okay, Terry's got 11 ambulances running. We're going to have 22 volunteers that are going to cover, and your whole department can go out and have a Christmas party today. Them days are, so
No,
that's why I say those. I remember those things and how we looked out for each other. Just the volunteers are not there like they used to be, and people can't, you know,
Yeah,
Would
but
you
if
you
can't afford a
agencies
volunteer.
communicate, you can cover for each other. I know
You
our
could, you could.
neighboring agency, we cover for each other for Christmas parties.
So y'all still
and
have that. Well, that's good. That's good that y'all still have that because that's one of the things I do miss. Is having getting everybody together for that.
and
Getting
how
your whole
different
group
did you see
together.
that at the beach area, Terry?
I mean for us, it's years ago, a former classmate of yours who was my old work partner. I remember at going to the station
Sorry,
that he was
made me
working at.
flinch.
Yeah, I went to his station one time, and it looked like Christmas threw up all over that station.
Yeah.
That station looked like somebody's house. It was one of our more remote stations. It was a one truck station, just him and his partner. And then at that time we were working 24/48s. And so it was six people working out of that building. I think to talk about some of the ghost of Christmas past stuff, for me, where you talk about anything memorable and where Walter's like, I can't think of anything. I I I can't not think of where Kathia talked about domestic assaults. I remember I remember one Christmas season going on a domestic assault and walking in the downstairs. It was a two-story house, and the downstairs was just this big, more or less open great room. And as you were walking through that downstairs of that house, it was like something that you would have on a, since it's copyright infringement Christmas, it's like a Martha Stewart Christmas special with like you've got Bing Crosby crooning in the air, and so you've got the music. It's nothing but Christmas twinkle lights. You've got the Christmas tree, the far end of the room, and right in front of that tree is our patient whose son had been intoxicated, beat her pretty good, not intubate good, but I mean she was banged up pretty good. And I remember that night my partner had said, "Hey, I'm gonna go to bed early." I wanted to go to one of the local Christmas things and a midnight mass, and he said, "Yeah, I'll go with you. That's no problem at all. I'm gonna go to bed early." And I remember we were coming back from the hospital, and my partner said, "Hey, do you want to go? You still want to go to midnight mass?" And I was just like, "No, I don't want to." But I think it's easy to remember those negative things, that pops into my mind. But I tell you, one of the other things that really pops into my mind is, even though we may not have always had, and in some years we had a spread at our station, but in some other years I remember going to my partner's house, or if I had traded somebody who lived in the district, we were at somebody's grandparents' house or somebody's parents' house, or their wife or their husband hosted us. And if you were a deputy on patrol that night, if you were working EMS that night, if you were the park service that was out that night, you got invited to this person's house. And I remember having, standing rib roast in a house one time, and there was a probably a 12-foot blue marlin on the wall behind us. And I just remember thinking, this is the craziest thing I have ever done. And that to me is some of the, if we talk about that Christmas spirit,
Well,
that
and just like you, Terry, and Terry and I will keep talking. We'll let y'all join in a few minutes.
yes.
But I same thing at Christmas and at Thanksgiving and those times. We're talking about Christmas, but hey, used to back the ambulance in my grandmother's yard, and me and my partner would go in and have Christmas dinner or Christmas lunch, whatever they were cooking, and it was like, does anybody else working? Do y'all need a plate? Y'all want to take the 911 center plate back? Let's fix a plate for we take them back. So that was that same kind of thing you're talking about is you and your partner, whoever's in whatever, go, come on, let's go. Hey John, how about you with the 57 jobs you've held?
The only thing I can think of, I don't remember calls
John
for
was
somebody.
usually between jobs at the holidays. He would leave one job.
He would
So he
take
could
off on
have the
Christmas
holidays off.
holidays off.
That's so
Yeah,
smart.
he's a
He just
thinker,
got
not a
if you see
stinker.
him, he just got another twitch.
Yep,
He's
we
trying to
call
work
He's
it
those
he's,
out.
he's flinching
that's
over there.
flinches. Yeah, they call those flinches. Um, I don't remember like bad calls or anything. Nothing stands out. I do remember walking in. I do remember whenever I did work Christmas Eve. I'd work Christmas Day. Um, and so I know what it was like to be, away from home and those type of things. And I lived a life for several years where I was working I don't know, a 24/48 or a 24/72 schedule to where Christmas might not have been on Christmas Day for us. And I have talked to several different people
Correct.
that said, hey, we're celebrating Christmas on this day, not the 25th, might be the 27th, might be the 22nd.
Well, and back then, well, I mean, not to be confused with your kids who you say won't be allowed to have phones until they're 18 and they're paying for it themselves. But
Right.
back then, I mean, I remember, waking up and we picked a day, my baby mama and I and her family, we picked a day that everybody could be in a place at one time, and we just told all the kids, it's Christmas Day. It was December 22nd or 23rd. And we told all the kids that's Christmas, and they didn't know any better at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I,
We,
and
we
I,
were talking about that today at work, with kids, and my dad had to work or mom had to work, and no kid has ever said, oh, Christmas came a day early. Oh, sure. We were having that same similar conversation today, is trying to get people on the same schedule to work together like that.
And I mean, my first two marriages were two paramedics. So it wasn't just my schedule. It would also be their schedule and then you throw in their parents and your parents and who you're going to be. It became, sort of a struggle. I don't remember a lot of that and stuff, but the point I was going to make, what do I remember about Christmas is I remember I was working at an agency and on Christmas wanted to wear a Santa hat. And so like I wore a Santa hat and they were like, you can't wear that Santa hat. And I was like, how come? It's out of uniform. It's not professional. You can't do that. So I took the Santa hat off, at least around them because I was a rule breaker and continue will be and ha 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 to whoever that was. But I had it on the dash and they were upset because they were like, you can't have it on the dash either. You can't have it on. And so I just remember like, really, we're gonna worry about my Santa hat. We're gonna worry about it being on the dash. We're gonna worry about those things. And we're not gonna worry about maybe that. And so I remember that's why I specifically asked about the culture of things, that it wasn't Christmas tree like. It wasn't, hey, let's do the things. It was like, I mean, I did work at an agency to where it's like, hey, let's get in the ambulance and let's go drive and look at Christmas lights. So in
Yes.
admin terms, let's go waste the fuel. Let's go
Functional.
waste the taxpayers' fuel.
Let's go do some functional driving and go look at Christmas lights.
Right, and drive around and look at
Training.
Christmas lights and stuff. Right, whatever they want to
Training,
call it.
driver's training, right.
And then I
Yeah.
compare it to the other agency that was like, no, we're not putting a Christmas tree up because that's not what we're here to do, and kind of thing. And
If you were in the fire service, you'd put Santa in the back, ride him around,
Right.
blow the horn,
right,
and write it up as driver training, write it up as company training for something or another, multi-company training.
why do we have to write it up as anything at all other than
Well,
it's
we
our
don't have
right.
to, but that's where
The
the fire
morale.
service, the fire
Right.
service just, oh yeah, this looks like training, and
we
here we
can't
are.
continue to just
Was there a level 2 present? What national
exactly.
standard did you?
See,
I've never not experienced an agency that did let you express yourself on the holidays. I love working the holidays. I come from the restaurant side, so I'm a holiday worker.
oh yeah, no
I love
doubt.
it.
Well, I even say, we didn't have everyone that maybe believed in Christmas. Their religious beliefs didn't allow them to believe in Christmas.
Right.
But what I will always say is those individuals were like, hey, John, you got two small kids at home. I don't really celebrate Christmas. I don't have anything to do. It's just a regular day for me. If you want to swap days, so I'll work your Christmas so you can have Christmas Day off.
Or come in
Right,
early
you do
for you on
that.
Christmas
Or
morning.
I'll come in
Yeah.
early for you on Christmas morning, or I'll stay late for you so you can have Christmas Day. And it was, they never complained about the Christmas tree being up. They never complained that we had, and I always try to make them, I know you may not believe in Christmas or observe Christmas. However, we're having a dinner. If you want to come have a meal with us, come on. And sometimes they would come on. So, but it was always like, hey, I'll work Christmas if somebody needs off. I'll work Christmas. Never problem at all. So.
Yeah, I know the world has changed a little bit to where, but I've always like, okay, so maybe you're not into the celebration of what it's about, but the other things that come from it, such as the family and camaraderie and
Right.
and those type of things, good cheer and goodwill and all those things. You don't need a holiday for that, but this is the time for it,
Right.
for that. So I mean, it's kind of hard to argue those principles for that, and so. One thing I'll ask to tie up the past is tell me about, and we'll just go around. I'll start with Kathia because I'm actually more interested from a female perspective from this, and then we'll come back around. We'll do Kathia, then Walter, then Terry, and then I'll go last. Your best.
Oh no! John Wilson doesn't get to go last. John Wilson gets to go after Kathia.
No.
The Scrooge made that decision. You're going second.
Okay.
Go ahead, Kathia.
Okay, let's go.
What's the best Christmas that you had? Like, and whatever it could be because of something personal that took place or whatnot, or what Santa Claus brought you. That's my personal one I'm going to go to. My go-to is going to be the Santa Claus story. So you I'm just curious.
Oh,
And we haven't
well,
asked this of each other before, so this is like I'll be hearing this for the first time, as typical with everything we
I'll
do.
I'll be honest. If so, personally, it would be the Christmas that I got a Barbie house.
The
It
dream
was
house.
like, yeah, that Barbie dream house with the elevator
Yep.
and
And the
had
pool?
all the
Did it have
things.
the pool?
Yes, it
Okay.
had everything.
Why
I
did
got
I
a
know
new one
that?
back here behind me. Y'all want to see it?
That box was bigger than me.
So it was in
Right.
the box. It wasn't put together.
No, it wasn't put together. It was still in the box, and I got to rip the wrapping paper off, and it just seemed larger than life.
Did Santa Claus so Santa Claus bring it or
It was Santa Claus.
yeah.
It was Santa
So
Claus.
that
Santa
that
Claus
that
brought
brings
it.
me up to something else then. So Santa Claus wrapped your presents.
When I was a kid, Santa
Right.
Claus does not wrap my kids'
Santa
presents,
Claus
though.
never wrapped my presents either because he's a lazy bum. But I was just wondering, some people say that he wraps theirs. And I'm just like, what makes you so doggone special that your presents get wrapped? Mine didn't get wrapped. I was a trailer park guy. That's probably why.
Dumpster homes.
My kids' Santa's presents don't get wrapped, though. They never have.
Yeah.
That's how we separate Santa gifts.
So Barbie doll dream house. So y'all,
The Barbie dream house.
yeah. Did you get any Barbies with it by chance?
Yes. Oh my God, I had a ton of Barbies.
Yeah.
I'm just a girl. Yes, I'm just a girl. All
Well,
things
I gotta
girly.
ask. I guess you didn't never get a Ken.
Yeah, I had some Kens.
Oh, okay.
They were all
Yes.
they were all the same Kens though back then. They didn't have multiple Kens like they do today.
Uh,
No.
that was funny.
I
Anyway,
can't say that they all had heads on, though.
That was back to your
Wouldn't the Jeffrey Dahmer
Can't promise you.
Buffalo? That's Buffalo Bill right there.
I did have an older brother. He liked to
Guess it's
trash
better
my
than Miss
Barbies.
Bobbit.
Oh.
Correct.
All right, John, your turn.
my best, it's hands down. It's the one I remember the most. I am that traditional kid that they talk about in all of the commercials. Couldn't go to sleep at night, stayed up late, finally went to sleep, woke up early to see what Santa Claus had brought us. I had a brother, still have a brother, I have a brother and a sister. They're younger. And it's not you, Terry. All right. But
Not
Because
Keith
I'm your
either.
best friend.
and so we're close in age. And me and my brother shared a room, and we would all in the middle of the night. I don't even know what time it was. It was dark outside. It was dark in the house, or
It
whatever.
didn't matter what time it was you were a kid. You didn't care what time it was.
Yeah, right. I remember me and his name is Dale getting on all fours, doing like a GI Joe crawl down the hallway, in through the kitchen, and into the living room to grab all of whatever Santa Claus had brought or whatnot. And it wasn't wraps, it was all set out. And the best one that we ever had is, I want to say 1984. How old were you, Kathia, in 84?
I was not born in
Exactly.
84.
Okay.
I'm an 85 baby.
Was Masters of the Universe. And Santa Claus had brought Castle Grayskull, Snake Mountain, and every single one of the He-Man, Skeletor, every single one of them. And my mom's got pictures of them before they were assaulted and taken back to the room in the middle of the morning or night or whatever it was. But it was and the personal thing is, I got as a kid, that was great because we had all this stuff. And I mean, it wasn't a Saturday morning cartoon. Anybody that watched Masters of the Universe, He-Man or whatever, that was an afternoon show that came on after school around 4:30, Filmation on, I don't even remember the channel, but it wasn't one of the main networks. So it wasn't like a Saturday morning cartoon. It was a afternoon from school cartoon. And we liked it. And I don't ever remember my parents really paying attention, or Santa Claus, or if maybe we did ask for it. I don't know if that, I'll have to figure that part out. But I certainly never expected to get all of that. We did not live that way growing up. I mean, and so that's what I'm saying, as I got older, I look back to know what my mom and dad went through to to make sure that happened from that has always inspired me to be that same thing and work with Santa Claus to make sure that, my kids are just as surprised. My friends are just as surprised. My family's just surprised at whatever I can do to make that joyous time. But I've never forgot that. And to this day, still have and collect. And my wife thinks I'm crazy because I go buy vintage Masters of the Universe stuff still in their packaging or whatever. And she says, you're just collecting junk or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what I'm collecting, right? But
So you are
anyway,
a true believer
yeah.
in
So
Christmas.
yeah. And so I still have that stuff. And one day I'll have it set up or something. I don't know. Maybe my brother will go and play and whatnot. And anyway, so Walter, who goes next? That's
Walter.
my, so all right. So Walter is next.
I got two. So my first one is myself, and woke up Christmas morning, and John, I was a single um parent home. My mother raised me since I was 3. So she struggled to be able to buy things for me as well, but always ensured that Santa came and that, she gave me presents as well. And one year I got up and I didn't see anything in the living room from Santa. So we went on and, like, what happened to Santa? What happened? And my mom went out in the back room, and we lived in a trailer. And she went out to the back utility room and she was like, "What is this outside?" And of course, me being a kid with my Amazon still, run to the back door, and Santa had brought me a 3-wheeler. So if you remember where with that little, it was a little like 73-wheeler when 3-wheelers were illegal and you could
Yeah.
have them.
Death Light.
And, my uncle knew, because I'm sure they all had a part of helping get it delivered, but he rode over in the 3-wheeler that we had, and me and him went out and rode 3-wheelers, after we had breakfast. So memorable, Santa came. Well, what Santa was supposed to come last night? Where's my stuff at? Not. Oh, look, Santa came. It's right out, I mean, it had been out there for a while because it was freezing cold, because it was December, so it was freezing cold. So it's not like it just got delivered; it had been there. Um, the second thing is actually having a kid with Santa and being able to see that with that kid. So, and I like Christmas as well and love Santa as well. If you ever stop believing, then you're not that's just my thing. If you ever stop believing, then I'll be a Santa.
Stop believing,
I'm a
you stop
forever
receiving.
believer.
Correct. So, with my kid now and being able to see that light with her being a Santa, and, these wretched elves in the house, and they make a mess.
Yeah.
We just started the elf
But
thing this year.
but the elves, and seeing her in the morning go, "Where are the elves at, Dad? Let's go look at the elves. Dad, can you come with me? Let's go find the elves."
You have more than one elf?
We have 2 elves now. So
What are their
His
names?
daughter is
How
that
did you
bad.
get
She
2?
needs.
She's perfect. How did you get
Right.
2 elves?
What's their names?
So Bernard and Joy. That's their
Bernard
names.
and
Bernard
Joy.
and Joy.
Bernard.
So that's what she calls them, Bernard and Joy. And so Bernard we had first, and then Bernard brought a friend this year, Joy. And she wanted a girl elf. I wanted a girl elf. I really wanted a girl elf. So we have Bernard and Joy. Okay, Terry, it's your turn. Sorry, I had to.
No, I mean, because I semi have too, but like the elf thing when my daughter, was a child. Now that she's 24, I mean that wasn't a thing back then. I mean, that's like, if John thinks of his oldest 2, I mean that wasn't a thing back then.
No. What?
I think it's 2 things, and one of them, so I've got a running text message chat, and so John, this is one of the things: when I die, you have to delete this text message chain between my brothers. But you remember how we used to put the presents under the tree for Terrence when we came home from midnight mass? And I remember one year as a kid getting the GI Joe aircraft carrier.
Ooh, that was
Yes.
all. I never got that because it was so big, right?
Yes. It was huge.
One
And
of one of
so,
my Christmases was GI Joe as well, but I got a Striker, the little
yeah.
plane. That's
No, no, I mean, and I was,
no, it wasn't
yeah,
Striker. What was the Striker? What was the plane called?
I don't know. I had the
Striker
aircraft
was
carrier.
I think the G anyway.
Yeah. So that, but then I think the other thing, between man, just being so young, and I think Walter, we've talked about that before, being so young as a parent, and you're just kind of grinding away with stuff, and where we've talked before, you and I and John and I are the three of us as those parents. Sorry to exclude you, Kathia, but talking about having our kids at different times in our life, and John has done it both ways where I just had, kids young. I liked being able to go. Probably my second best memorable was right after Mrs. Sheehy and I got married, and we went and spent Christmas with my family up in Maryland. So being able to have a Christmas dinner with my brothers, and for me, that was the first time that we'd had Christmas dinner since my mom had died, and that was 22 years before that. So that was probably, for me, a big, real big thing.
All right. Well, that's those are pretty good stories. What would you say is in store for the Ghost of Christmas Present? The What does Christmas look like for EMS today? What does it look like for you guys today? Oh yeah. That's pretty cool.
I don't
Well,
know.
you know, you know, Christmas has been a little different for the last few years because A, I haven't had to work shift. I don't think any of us except Kathia work shift now. So I don't have to
I'm
work
back on it.
shift anymore. It's still spending time with kids and family. And I appreciate the young blood coming in that has taken our place to be able to ride on an ambulance and to be able to work Christmas so people like me and you who are not working are safe. And it's law enforcement, EMS, fire, police,
911.
doctors, 911, everyone. We had that the days that we had, and I appreciate them picking it up and moving forward, to be able to still keep us safe. We don't think about keeping us safe. It may not be keeping me safe, but it's keeping the public safe. And for all of you guys that are out there listening to us, we appreciate you, and doing your part and filling our shoes where we have changed some transitions.
That probably would have won us the election, Terry.
Walter needs to be a better campaign manager for.
I didn't know y'all. I didn't know y'all were running because me and Mark were running. Remember?
Y'all were our competition. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Okay, Kathia.
Well, I think it's bringing back the traditions
well,
of the camaraderie
you might
and
have to
bringing
say what
people together.
traditions are, because I think we're all aged out in different things. Traditions for us may be sledding in the snow in the wilderness.
Well, hopefully Christmas will
Not,
come
but
with
could be.
snow this year, but
Doesn't
until
look
that day
doesn't look very
comes,
promising.
I'm hopeful. I believe in the magic of Christmas. So just bringing that camaraderie and people back together,
I
that
feel that
work
there's a shift in
balance.
today. I
There
don't,
is something's
it,
different about this season.
yeah. Um,
It's not so cold as it has been in the past.
except when I'm on the road. And that could be me more than it is everybody else. Terry usually catches me on the phone when I'm in the middle of a training lesson, with someone on the highway. And that sometimes they can't get it through their head. The lane is ending soon, and you know, maybe somebody better than me would let you over, and that might be more Christmas spirit like. But
Where are you going with that?
no, I believe you're just gonna have to. should have paid attention to that sign. It was a quarter mile back instead of trying to. Anyway, so other
No,
than that,
if they wanted me to
Hey,
move a quarter mile ago, the lane would have ended a quarter mile ago.
hey, I did that. I did it in the parking garage the other day, and they were thought they were gonna bust out in front of me, and I had been waiting in line. No, you just need to sit right in that
Mm-mm.
yeah,
parking space. You could just sit right there for just a few minutes, like the rest of us did.
old guys
Oh
like
no.
us, we're willing to wait for that law enforcement to come up here and file an insurance claim. We'll just wait. I need a new fender. I
Yeah.
need it's principle at this point. We're gonna sit here and stare at you. We're gonna have an uncomfortable conversation, and I promise you're gonna be more uncomfortable than me.
It's not old guys.
Yeah,
I'm right there with
Oh
you.
Lord.
that's anyway. Uh, we do work in a different environment now, Walter, especially you and I. And I will say the excitement I have is I speak a lot about, and I call them my girls, but that's not to claim ownership. That's just that I have the girls I work with where I'm at are just awesome. Um, and not because they do anything, um, spectacular from the standpoint of do that I ask them to do something and they do it. It's their reason why. It's their Terry has talked on many times about how he was fascinated by, I don't know if he ever said the agency, but the agency he's talking about when he talks about how people will come into work because if they didn't, their community would be hurt, was Edgecombe County. And
Correct.
um and the reason that these girls, and that's who I look at as the present, because I mean, and there may be the future too, but the present is their drive to want to create people to do things for the right reason in education. Is beyond maybe something that I had when I was their age, and they're younger, you know. And so to come in and have that mentality makes me think, man, what good hands they'd be in, and why I wish I'd have had that kind of person for me coming into EMS to be like that. And so when I look at the present, I look at how these and females too, because their struggle is, I mean, I don't want to say a struggle, their journey in EMS is different than a male's journey. And traditionally, it just to get up through there, to get up through the ranks, and hey, some of that stuff's wiped clean. Like there is no gender on the application anymore in a lot of places in the promotion process, and I'm glad to see that. But the to get to that point, it's still a different. I mean, the research still shows that they're not paid. Females aren't paid the same. They're not promoted at the same rate. And I think to see these folks come through and really push to get to that point, that means a lot to me for the present. And then I see the results. And Walter, you're like me. That all sounds good, but do they produce results on the other end? And I know that we do. At least in our institution, we you want to be an EMT, you want to be a paramedic. Um, my girls are going to take care of you. I got guys there too, and the guys are going to take care of you too. But I mean, I just have to give the kudos to the girls up there for that. So that's how I see the present. Terry?
I got, well, hold on. Let me get my arm, which appears and disappears. I don't know. First Christmas as a grandfather, and so what I would say is starting to redefine, funny that if it's the five of us that are on here, I'm the one who's middle in age, and I'm the one with the first. I am. It's Mark and Kathia, because remember they went to prom together. And but it's weird for
Isn't Mark
me.
younger than me?
Now y'all are the
Isn't
same
he the
age.
baby?
Y'all graduated. Well, I mean, maybe by 12 minutes, but it's funny to be my presence. I think that starts to transform into that future, and what is the future, and where Kathia says, are we bringing back? Are we bringing back the things that we used to do? Is everything old new again? Are we revising things? Or maybe some of it is just thinking about, hey, my position here is temporary in whatever it is, that it's temporal. And so we could say that, personally, being that grandfather. And hey, that Christmas shift is now Christmas morning. I think we're going to do breakfast in my daughter's house, and then next Christmas, my older stepdaughter's pregnant, and so there'll be two grandbabies. And then what do we, I don't know, maybe there'll even be three by then. Probably not. But what does that look like? And I think same thing when we start to look at EMS for that present. Hey, are we being present in that? Are we being aware of that? Are we bringing that old stuff back, like where Walter talks about, hey, I know you got that young family. Let me step in and work for you on this night, or let me do this. Whatever those things are. I don't know.
And I mean, I think that's a good segue to what the future is. I know what it looks like from an educational standpoint. I think it's in good hands where I'm at. I know Walter feels the same way. And I talking to other schools through here, I think the future is set up to be great EMS wise. It now what I look at is I think as we get older and you say, we're getting up in that age or whatever, it's like the legacy that you're going to have. And I think I see that out of supervisors. I see that out of chiefs coming up. They look at what am I handing off? Am I handing that am I leaving it better than I found it? I've heard that many times.
I, I think we hear that in some places. Maybe we hear that in a lot of places, but in a conversation I had today with an EMS leader in North Carolina, that was kind of what the tone is. Are we giving it the longevity and making the development or the sacrifices to better the industry, to better our agencies? I think for the most part we are, but I think some people still need to wake up with that ghost, with that, the skeleton, to say, hey, are you really doing it? And I think in our circle, and I use the phrase our friends, are I think a lot of our friends are, but I think there's still folks, I don't know.
I think those folks you're talking about are starting to open their eyes and see that they're about to get left behind,
So do they get out or do they
quite
change?
honestly.
I mean, because if you look at A Christmas Carol, it's about change, right?
It
If
is.
we take what Ebenezer Scrooge went through, and there is a there is, that character of Ebenezer Scrooge sort of represents a lot of the EMS culture in the fact of how they looked at things. And it's like if we looked instead of Christmas and we look at the advancement of healthcare and what that's going to look like, I think we probably can have a very Ebenezer Scrooge look at things of like bah humbug on healthcare getting any better or how that's going to be or how our EMS systems are going to run. And it takes these different ghosts from the past, the present, and potentially someone to show us what that future is going to look like. Then Ebenezer Scrooge has to make a change for it to be better, or else Tiny Tim is going to die.
Is that is that us in EMS if we talked about reimbursement models? Is that us in EMS if we said, hey, view us as healthcare providers and not as transportation? Is that, talking about those new leaders who maybe aren't the word? I had to look up my notes from our call earlier today. Dedication, not our, that leader that I had talked with. And I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's where we make a difference. When I say we, I'm talking about our officer program, the other guys that get out there and hustle to make impact. And it's years ago, it was just a couple of us out there on the road, and there's a lot of folks out there doing it. Brad, um, Chris, Dave, um, you see Brooke, Annie. I mean,
Justin.
I'm throwing it Justin. I mean, different names
Yeah.
out there, and they're sharing their present to better the future, and to the point to where it's like more and more folks are like understanding that, hey, to cultivate what we want EMS officers and leadership and management to look like in the future, it's going to be it's not a one-way model. There's a lot of things that can go to that to make that happen. And I would say that future-wise, at least from a wizard lens, is going to be that we'll continue to cultivate at least what that's going to look like for everybody else. By bringing in those different subject matter experts. Adam, who's logistics,
Just yeah,
not just logistics anymore, I don't guess, but still logistics nonetheless.
yeah. Fake news.
My last question I got I actually had this on my list of things to sort of bring up if we had time, and I don't know if we have time. It doesn't matter. I guess we run the show. We do what we want. Mark's not here to tell us to stop. So,
yeah, because we're probably like 50 minutes in now.
It don't matter.
Who knows how long we're in?
I'm just looking for the click. Y'all click. That's all. If you made it this far, haha, we got you. You clicked. It counts. It counts.
Gotcha.
You jokers in Germany, we appreciate you. We appreciate our Germany listeners.
I'm not gonna say I'm not. Whatever.
Favorite Christmas show or movie, and why, and what made it what made it a difference to you? And I'll start. Let's start. Terry, you go first on that. Like, do you have a cartoon or a show or something? Every Christmas you're just waiting to watch. Say no. Go ahead. Say no.
Probably. I mean, a Christmas Story with Ralphie.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Die Hard, which is a Christmas movie.
Do you do the 24 hours of A Christmas Story that TNT or TBS or maybe both do on?
So we don't have change channel TV here at home. So
change channel TV.
Yeah, that's what the kids call it. Like we just have streaming here at the house. But I'll tell you my oddly favorite Christmas cartoon.
Change the channel TV.
Not change the channel, just change channel. Yeah, we don't have change channel TV. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a whole different Ghost of the Future right there, because I ain't never heard
Kaylee or Megan or Grace, please comment on this video. And so explain it to my friends. My weird work memory. One Christmas, I remember getting off work and we got everything done and we just had time to sit and to kill waiting for our relief to show up. Because it was Christmas morning, we were up early to get out the door. A Ren and Stimpy Christmas special.
I was not allowed to watch Ren and Stimpy.
Never heard of it, never seen it.
Okay.
Christmas Story I'm good with or whatever.
Ren and Stimpy? Never?
I mean, I know who they are. I didn't know they did a Christmas. I mean, it's likely they did a Christmas. I never watched those guys.
It's terrible. Yeah. Kathia, what about you? What is your...
Oh, it starts with A White Christmas, goes into A Christmas Story, and then I love Rudolph and Frosty. Those are always my favorite.
White Christmas is so underrated.
Really? I love White Christmas.
I love the White Christmas with Bing Crosby.
It's such a beautiful movie.
It is, and for what it was at the time it came out, the colors are fabulous in that movie. The choreography, the dances, the singing in that. I decorated
my house to A White Christmas.
It is one of my favorite movies.
Yes, it is just a classic. It's not Christmas without that movie, honestly, to me.
Funny, since you grew up in Orlando.
Don't judge me. I've always dreamt of A White Christmas. What brought me to North Carolina?
Obviously, you hadn't seen the movie, Terry, because they went to Vermont looking for snow, and there was no snow in Vermont at Christmas time. So anyway,
watch the movie, Terry.
Great movie.
We're just obsessed with Christmas movies, though. We watch them. All of them. If there's new ones, we try them.
I've got
you and your wife, you and your wife,
and the kids. Everybody's obsessed with Christmas in our house. As soon as Thanksgiving is over, it is now time for Christmas. Christmas movies are played. We watch them over and over and over again. Hot chocolate is being made from scratch.
That's what we do, girl.
Yes, it is a whole thing.
It's Halloween. My mama's birthday on the 1st, and then the 2nd it's Christmas. We have a Thanksgiving break.
You mean it's Halloween and then than my anniversary on the 1st.
No, I said it right the first time. My mama's birthday.
No, it's my anniversary.
I don't know. Christmas is just a whole vibe. It's a whole thing. It's a whole season, and we're obsessed with it.
Wally, it's on the tube, man, that you got to watch. Or does Kate have something that she's got to watch every Christmas?
Correct.
Well, Kate loves the Grinch, so we probably watch the Grinch year round.
There's 3 of them. Which Grinch?
So the latest one she likes, Jim Carrey, I was on, and then the latest one she really likes.
The Pixar one, the one
The
that,
new cartoon one.
Yeah.
Right.
Which my kids don't call that one cartoon. Cartoon is the one from the 60s.
Yeah.
Right. Hold on a second. Rudolph and Frosty. And then I love all the Home Alones.
Oh my God, those are fun. I don't like the last one.
Well, probably the best one I like is Lost in New York.
Yes.
That's probably
my
the best
favorite.
One. That's probably my favorite of all of them. That's probably my favorite. Shut up, Terry.
Yeah, I would say mine. Now we have Christmas running rampant in the house, much like Thea's talking about.
And it's so hard to pick one. That's what I'm saying.
It is hard.
It's hard.
So my wife, Christina, hates this movie, but it is like the one me and Caitlin love, and that is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh, no.
We love that one.
Christina, we need to have a conversation. No,
she hates
really?
Chevy Chase. I don't know why. She has no. I don't know.
I could almost cry.
Yeah, you should call her.
I grew up on Chevy Chase. Like,
somebody needs to straighten it out. And Elf.
We need to have lunch. We need to go have hot chocolate or something.
I think Elf has become a classic. So Elf is one of those. The girl that plays in there, what's her name? I can't remember her name. Whatever her name is. That's the only movie where she looks like that. Her other movies, I think her hair is black. I think the way she acts is different. I think the way she overall looks, but in that movie, she's always looks like what I see a Christmas elf looking. Terry, you looking her up?
IMBD.
I'm texting your wife.
Dad, who's texting your wife? Like that scares you.
But
the Chevy Chase thing is pretty heavy here.
Yeah, I know. I love Chevy Chase. So
she said he is not funny. Second worst Christmas movie.
What's the worst?
He's hilarious. It's his dry humor. Like,
I thought that would have been her worst Christmas movie. So I don't know. We're about to learn something about my marriage. Thank you, Terry.
I'm glad we can find out. That's what real best friends do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I know you had another best friend that had saved your marriage, but Groundhog Day. She says that Groundhog Day. I didn't think that was a Christmas movie.
So maybe she misunderstood. She hates Bill Murray and hates Groundhog Day too. Yeah,
that's fair. She can have that.
Yeah, but I that's the type of comedy I love. So
yeah, Bill Murray equally horrible. According to
he's an acquired taste though. Bill Murray is
Ghostbusters. Come on, but anyway, yeah, I knew she hated Groundhog Day, but that's my movies. That's my go-tos. If I'm going to sit down and say, "Hey, you got to watch a Christmas movie," give me Vacation, give me Elf. White Christmas is another one. Any of the Christmas carols, I love watching their different interpretations of that. I didn't like the Disney one with Jim Carrey.
I like the Bill Murray one.
Scrooged. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's dark. That's why I love it.
Yeah, it's good. I like that.
I think that was the first Christmas movie we watched last year on Christmas was Scrooged.
So Ben Affleck has a good Christmas movie too called Reindeer Games. That's a good one to watch. I don't know that I'd call it a Christmas movie, but it happens during Christmas time. He dresses up as Christmas. There's a lot of killing that goes on in it. And anyway,
have you guys seen Violent Night?
I ain't go that far. Like crying.
No. It is funny. It is good. It's full of action, and Santa saves the day. Seriously, give it a chance and then let me know. Violent Night.
Name.
It's a must.
Do a 10-year anniversary and we'll say, hey, I watched Violent Night. And that's
Look,
Christmas.
I skipped over it last year because I was like, that's a horrible title. This looks horrible. I watched it over the summer and it was phenomenal. Fix your face, Terry.
He can't
I'm serious.
It way.
Give it a chance. John Leguizamo's in it. It's great.
John Lasagna. Who is that?
You don't know who John Leguizamo is?
He's an Italian guy.
He's a little short Italian comedian.
Do they celebrate Christmas in Italy?
He's related to Papa John.
Oh, have mercy.
Okay.
Anyways, give it a chance.
Well, at Christmas time, the last question that we got for this episode, at Christmas time, who is your best friend? Who is your best Christmas character? Who is your best friend Christmas character at Christmas time?
Santa Claus. I don't understand the question.
Walter said Santa Claus. You don't understand? Terry's stupid. How about you, Kathia?
Santa Claus. He's the best.
Santa Claus is mine too. I mean, if you ask my daughter, Abby, she's going to tell you, and I've never seen the movie, was The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's going to be whoever that character was. What's his name? Jack something?
Jack Skellington and Sally? That's year-round, though.
That's what Kate told me a while ago. She said, Dad, tell him I really like The Nightmare Before Christmas, too.
Abby, that's Abby's go-to movie. That's her favorite. Her whole house, she decorates that.
I've never seen it. I've never seen it either. Never seen it.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
Christmas penguins.
Christmas penguins.
Okay.
Christmas penguins.
Yeah. Penguins.
Penguins are cute. I like them.
You might as well say the Coca-Cola polar bear then.
What's wrong with Christmas penguins? You asked what his favorite character was.
I'm a bear.
Don't judge him.
I'm a bear.